authority. What are these pictures?
Okay. His representative is there. The county exec is in Ireland, remember? The county exec is in Ireland. He's in Ireland. Good evening and welcome to Cuyahoga County Council's regularly scheduled meeting. Today is May 23rd, 2023. And Madam Clerk, it's 5:07 p.m. or is my watch still fast?
I'm sorry, 5:02 p.m.
Okay. It's how I get to places relatively on time. If you would call the roll, please.
Good evening, everyone. As a reminder to all in attendance, this meeting is being recorded and live streamed on the county's YouTube page. Calling the roll, Ms. Turner.
Here.
Ms. Simon.
Here.
Mr. Kelly.
Here.
Mr. Miller.
Present.
Mr. Sweeney.
Present.
Mr. Tuma.
Here.
Mr. Gallagher. Here. Mr. Schron. Ms. Conwell.
Present.
Council President Jones is absent. Council Vice President Stevens.
Present.
You have a quorum.
Excellent. If we could stand and pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam President,
Yes.
I would like to offer a motion that the absence
Well,
of
first I
Council
have
President-
something I wanted to do. Before we take a motion, I'd like to do silent meditation, which is typically on our agenda, in recognition of the contributions to this community and to the country that Jim Brown did in football, in civil rights issues, and in youth-oriented programs. I'm going to count to 10 and let us all thank the community and the gods that gave him to us. Thank you, Mr. Miller.
Madam President, I would like to make a motion that the absence of Council President Jones be excused.
Okay. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Is there any public comment?
Grace Heffernan.
All right, here we go. Grace Heffernan. I live in the city of Cleveland. Greetings, Cuyahoga County Council members. Thank you so much for having me. I'm with the Northeast Ohio Worker Center, and we are a proud member of the Guardians for Fair Work, which represents a coalition of over 30 grassroots, community, and labor organizations that are working to advance pro-worker policies here in Northeast Ohio. As you can tell, many members of the Guardians for Fair Work Coalition are here today. Wow, there they are, there they are. It's a good-looking bunch. And so we are absolutely delighted that Council has taken this important step of enshrining wage theft protections for the working people of Cuyahoga County. We would not have gotten to this moment without the efforts and support of a huge number of people and organizations. And I want to give a big thanks to my fellow board members at the Northeast Ohio Worker Center, Policy Matters Ohio, the North Shore AFL-CIO, SEIU Local 1, Chris Erickson and the utility workers, Cleveland Jobs with Justice, the Central Ohio Worker Center, IRTF, BLM, YLN, and the Cleveland Art Workers Collective. There's many other organizers and activists who have supported us along the way, including Nora Kelly, Justin Streekel, Andre Daly, Phil Korfman, Matthew On, and the many workers who have shared their stories of wage theft with us over the last 2 years. One leader to note who is not here with us today was Matt Coons. He was an indispensable coalition member from designing our logo, developing our website, and providing strategic advice. We miss him dearly. Together, we've been lucky to find good allies at County Council. Councilman Dale Miller, thanks for being an early champion of this ordinance at the county level and for so diligently working through the details. We know that that is where things can really get held up, and so we're very, very thankful to you. Council members Sweeney, Kelly, Turner, Tuma, Simon, Stevens, and Council President Jones, thank you so much for co-sponsoring this important measure. You made it easy for us to get excited. Thank you. And so I'll close by saying that at times it can feel pretty bleak living in Ohio, where it seems that our state legislature is blocking our efforts at progress at every turn. But together, in partnership with the City of Cleveland, Cuyahoga County, and the Guardians for Fair Work, we've proven that there are still opportunities where we can work together and fight and win for working people on important issues like wage theft. So thank you for your time, and looking forward to the vote this afternoon.
Thank you.
Matthew On.
Good evening, members of council. My name is Matthew On. I am a visiting assistant professor at the Cleveland State University College of Law. I am here today in my capacity as a member of the Guardians for Fair Work campaign. I'm here to talk about the vote for passage of the Wage Theft Ordinance 2023-0009. First off, I would like to commend council for prioritizing the issue of wage theft. $39.2 billion is taken from workers every year through wage theft, which is almost 3 times as much as all other forms of theft combined. There are at least 213,000 victims of wage theft in Ohio alone every year, according to a 2022 report from Policy Matters Ohio. Those wage theft victims in Ohio are over 60% women and disproportionately workers of color. Latino workers are most heavily affected, with an average annual wage loss of almost $5,000. What this means is that the over 20,000 yearly victims of wage theft here in the county are being shorted over $60 million a year. In other words, the yearly impact in this county from wage theft is almost 4% of the county government's annual budget. I want to thank the 8 council members who, along with County Executive Chris Ronayne, are co-sponsors of this bill, and in particular, Councilman Miller, who has spearheaded this effort, as well as the council members who voted it out of committee earlier this month. While this is a momentous step for the county to take, it is not the end. This ordinance alone does not get us from $60 million in wage theft to $0 in Cuyahoga County. The ordinance does not, unfortunately, add a mechanism for the county to investigate and make factual findings about the victims of wage theft who have been stolen from, or a way to make those victims whole. Wage theft is theft, and a fair and equitable society would commit a far greater portion of its resources at the city, county, state, and federal levels towards investigating wage theft and enforcing against it. Justice for these victims will amount to fair wages for the working class residents of Cuyahoga County, who are the backbone of our local economy. And so I hope that County Council will work closely, not only with government agencies at every level, as well as the city and county prosecutors' offices, to ensure that this ordinance can have the largest lasting impact possible. I am excited for the potential passage of Ordinance O-2023-0009, and I hope it is just the first step of many to protect this county's workers from wage theft moving forward. Thank you.
Lou.
Good evening. Well, we just heard some of the numbers and the importance about wage theft. To tell you the truth, right now, all the people in this country, not just in this county, lots of people falling into homelessness. Wage theft has actually been a historical reason, but people do not notice that. And this actually will cause our loss of population and loss of revenues on each level of the government. I have to congratulate, finally, Cuyahoga County, we can be a little bit more proactive this time to put on a legislation ahead of the state government, putting out all the legislation we actually don't need. For example, right now, the biggest one is for somebody to put on ballot initiative, they want to have a 60% of the votes for this ballot initiative to be passed, to be a real legislation. However, will that really help all the people in the state to stabilize their housing, their jobs, to resolve their daily struggles on every little bitty thing, including inflation, we cannot control. Please put out more of these proactive legislations to help people to thrive together instead of, you know what I often said, instead of dying together. Thank you very much.
That concludes the public comment portion for today's meeting.
Thank you. At this time, I will ask my colleagues if any of them have reviewed our minutes and if I have a motion to approve them.
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The minutes have been approved. I have no announcements. Chief of Staff Wopser, do you have any comments on behalf of the county exec? Your microphone, please.
Just very briefly, Acting Council President Stevens, like the Council President, Chris is in Ireland. He wishes he could be here tonight, but he's excited to report that he's met with the Mayor of Dublin and the Ireland U.S. Ambassador. The leaders on the trip will bring back valuable insight to Cuyahoga County and ideas for future connections to help the county grow. In addition to that, he just wants to thank Councilman Dale Miller for his leadership in the wage theft ordinance. Executive Ronayne is honored to add his name as a co-sponsor, and the administration looks forward to working with council to implement this ordinance after it passes. And then finally, he'd like to extend an invite for everyone to walk with him at this year's Pride Parade. He's proud that Cuyahoga County is a workplace that is inclusive to all and looks forward to celebrating our programs and services that support the diverse LGBTQ plus community here in Cuyahoga County. Registration for that event is closed, but everyone is welcome to join him and the county on Saturday, June 3rd at 10 a.m. in Public Square.
Well, I would say to you, he wants to join us.
We'll join you. Seconded. That concludes my remarks for the evening.
you.
Thank you.
Legislation introduced by council. Consideration of a resolution of council for first reading, adoption under suspension of rules. I would accept a motion at this point to suspend Rule 9D and 12A.
Madam Vice President, I move to suspend those rules.
Second,
Thank
Simon.
you. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We move forward to the legislation. Madam Clerk, if you would read the legislation.
Resolution 2023-0140, approving a collective bargaining agreement between the Cuyahoga County Board of Developmental Disabilities and the Association of Cuyahoga County Employees for Special Students, an affiliate of National Education Association and Ohio Education Association, covering approximately 112 employees in various position titles for the period March 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2025.
This item was previously discussed in executive session and is our standard operational procedure that this council will take no action on this item. Consideration of resolutions for council for first reading and referral to committee. Madam Clerk, if you would read the first item.
Resolution 2023-0141, awarding a total sum not to exceed $150,000 to the Village of Brooklyn Heights for the purpose of upgrading and repairing elevators in the Brooklyn Heights Municipal Building and Community Center from the District 8 ARPA Community Grant Fund. This is just referral.
First reading. Okay, sorry.
I was going to refer it to the Public Works Committee if there's no problem.
Move to adopt.
Thank you.
Resolution 2023-0142, awarding a total sum not to exceed $34,500 to the Crew Foundation for the Ginn Academy Summer Filming Cohort from the District 9 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
I'd like to refer this to the Community Development Committee.
Resolution 2023-0143, adopting various changes to the Cuyahoga County Non-Bargaining Classification Plan.
I'd like to refer this to Human Resources and Appointments and Equity Committee. The committee reports and consideration of resolutions of council for second reading. Madam Clerk, if you would begin to read these into the record.
Resolution 2023-0124, awarding a total sum not to exceed $12,851.65 to the City of Rocky River for the replacement of automated external defibrillators from the District 1 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will move to the June 6th, 2023 council agenda for consideration for the third reading and adoption.
Resolution 2023-0125, awarding a total sum not to exceed $100,000 to the Harvard Community Services Center for the Students of Promise Exposure Field Trip and College Tour Transportation Project from the District 3 and District 8 ARPA Community Grant Funds.
This also will be moved to the June 6th county council agenda for consideration for third reading and adoption.
Madam President, would you add my name to this legislation?
Yes, Madam Clerk, if you would add this to, add her name to support this legislation, as well as mine.
Council Vice President, my name as well, to the clerk, Simon.
Duly noted. Resolution 2023-0126, awarding a total sum not to exceed $70,000 to the Greater Cleveland Faith-Based Initiative Group for the purpose of a Project Reach anti-violence program from the District 8 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will move to the June 6th council agenda for consideration for third reading and adoption.
Madam President, if you would add my name, Turner, to this legislation?
Thank you.
Can you add
Simon.
my name as well, Madam Vice President?
But of course,
Thank you.
Simon.
and Stevens.
Thank you. Resolution 2023-0128, awarding a total sum not to exceed $10,000 to the Seeds of Literacy for the Building Capacity to Support Increased Enrollment Project from the District 9 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will move to the June 6th county council agenda for consideration for third reading and adoption. And would you please add my name to sponsorship for this?
Chair.
It's Conwell and Stevens.
Thank you. Resolution 2023-0129, awarding a total sum not to exceed $15,000 to the Village of Healing for the culturally sensitive mental health care for Cuyahoga County's Black women from the District 9 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will move to the June 6th county council agenda for consideration for third reading and adoption. And would you add my name to this one as well?
As well.
I'm sorry, who? Conwell? Thank you. Resolution 2023-0130, adopting various changes to the Cuyahoga County non-bargaining classification plan.
This item will move to the June 6th county council agenda for consideration for third reading and adoption. Consideration of resolutions for council for third reading and adoption.
Resolution 2023-0097, awarding a total sum not to exceed $40,000 to the Literacy Cooperative for the Dolly Parton Imagination Library from the District 3, District 9, and District 11 Community Grant Funds.
Move to adopt.
Second?
Thank you. This matter was heard in committee last Wednesday. We heard again from the Literacy Cooperative about the Dolly Parton program and how important this is to enable young people to get exposed to books early on, and we added some money to this this endeavor that was led by, I believe, Vice President Stevens and Turner.
We are fully committed to making sure that every child who needs the opportunity to learn how to read gets better opportunities in Cuyahoga County. So this adds to what we have contributed before. So we're at $240,000 from this council to the Literacy Cooperative collectively.
Madam Vice President, right now there's 37,000 enrollees. We're looking to increase that up to 50, and we're one of the largest contributors locally to this project. And you know what's significant is when these children receive the books at home, the parents pick them up, they read together, the kids have their name when they open it up, their name's on the book, and it's just really special, and I believe begins a whole lifetime of reading.
And if I may add, I've been supporting this Dolly Parton Imagination Library since my time on U.S. Senator Sherrod Brown's staff, and I couldn't believe that I could go to work and read books. So I thank my colleagues for their support. I also joined First Lady Frances DeWine of Ohio in supporting this amazing process. I do believe that education is the passport to the future, and so is reading.
Is there a motion? Is there a second?
We did that already.
We did that, just a roll call.
Okay.
Unwell.
I'm sorry, council members, if you could make sure your microphones are on, because I can barely hear you. So
we
as
have-
far as sponsoring, can I get the sponsors again?
Schron and Conwell and Stevens.
If you could add my name too, please. Thank you.
Mr. Tuma?
Kelly?
Mr. Kelly? Mr. Miller, did I see your hand?
Please add my name as well. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Oh, wonderful. Reading is supported in Cuyahoga County. The next item, please, Madam Clerk.
Resolution 2023-0110, awarding a total sum not to exceed $25,000 to Global Cleveland for the Welcoming Workforce Project from the District 3 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, Madam Vice President, just Ward 3, President Simperman came over, made a wonderful presentation. It's a great investment in ARPA dollars. I ask my colleagues to support this piece of legislation. Thank you.
There was a first and a second.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing no opposition, this moves forward.
Madam Chair, please add my name to this legislation.
Thank you. And would you please add my name as well, Madam Clerk?
Thank you. Resolution 2023-0111, awarding a total sum not to exceed $30,000 to the Brenda Glass Multipurpose Trauma Center for general operating support from the District 3 and District 9 ARPA Community Grant Funds.
Move to adopt. Second.
Is there any discussion?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Brenda Glass Multipurpose Trauma Center provides survivor-centered healing and safety services for both male and female victims of violent crimes. It is one of Cuyahoga County's comprehensive trauma recovery centers that provides safe shelter housing, psychotherapy, intense case management, peer advocacy, and relocation assistance. This was heard in the HHS committee on May 3rd, and I ask for my colleagues' support.
Madam Vice President, may I?
Yes.
Thank you. I had the privilege of meeting the individual that is Brenda Glass. It's named after her. She came and presented. She's just a wonderful, wonderful human being. And I can put it this way through the chair. When it was going through tough times, she cashed her own 401k in to keep it going. So that's a real deal. So I'm honored to be able to support this, and I'm asking my colleagues to join me and the sponsor to pass this. Thank you.
Madam Clerk, if you would add my name to this,
Kelly, too, please.
and Councilman Kelly's. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? This passes, and we move on to the next item.
Resolution 2023-0112, awarding a total sum not to exceed $75,000 to the Diversity Center of Northeast Ohio for the Stronger Together project from the District 3, District 9, District 10, and District 11 ARPA Community Grant Funds.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Thank you.
ahead,
If I may, so this was heard in committee, and we heard from two individuals, great ladies from the Diversity Center, Peggy Zone Fisher, Brenda Saradakis, who spoke to the mission and history of the Diversity Center. What's important, I think, to note is the strong history of working against racism. It was a coalition in 1927 of Christians and Jews, and this organization has been strong since then. It's changed names. So the money now is going to support initiative of Stronger Together, which will educate and fortify against the rising wave of racism we're seeing today. So I ask for your support and believe this is a very important project to continue in Cuyahoga County.
Any other discussion? Councilman Sweeney?
Thank you, Madam Vice President. It was an honor and privilege to recommend this to the rest of my colleagues and Peggy Zone Fisher. She sits in the background most of the time, but she's a driving force for a long time here, and this is just another example of that. Just want to make that statement. Thank you.
Any other statements? We have a first, a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? This passes unanimously. Madam Clerk, let us move forward to the next one.
We're going on to item E.
Consideration of an ordinance of council for third reading adoption.
Ordinance 2023-0009, amending sections 501.15, 501.19, and 505.03 of the Cuyahoga County Code to provide that wage theft committed by current or prospective contractors shall be grounds for debarment.
I want to take a moment of privilege here. First, I would like to recognize Councilman Miller for making sure that this reached our attention and not letting go until it turned into a piece of legislation. I love your commitment to our residents and making sure that they have a way to announce what needs to be done on their behalf. This is, it's often that we like to do the things that are popular. This is for working class people who deserve a commitment, since working class Americans pay the biggest and do the most lifting collectively of our organizations and our communities. So thank you for your work on behalf of all of us, Dale.
Thank you very much, Madam President, and I move to adopt.
Second.
All in favor? If there's other discussion, I'm so sorry.
Madam President.
Mr. Gallagher?
Madam Chair, to be sure, wage theft exists, and I experienced that myself. However, I will be recusing myself after discussing this with our in-house counsel. I also believe the remedy already exists within the debarment ordinance that we have on the table. But I can tell you from personal experience, this does happen, and it does affect families, and it does affect average working people. But I do believe we already have the remedy at hand.
Okay. Anyone else?
Madam President, colleagues, I would like to thank the Guardians for Fair Work and Nora Kelly for your help in bringing this legislation on wage theft forward. Thanks also to County Executive Ronayne, Council President Jones, and my colleagues, councilpersons Sweeney, Kelly, Tuma, Stevens, Turner, and Simon for your support in sponsoring the legislation. Thanks also to Mike King from our staff, Inspector General Alexa Beeler, and Michelle Rose from Ohio Means Jobs for your help as well. Wage theft occurs when employees do not receive properly earned compensation for work performed. For example, Milo was hired by a construction company to hang and finish drywall for residential construction projects. He and 4 co-workers started work on a townhome project. They submitted photos of their work completed and hours worked to an app that the company asked them to download. There were several incomplete or missing paychecks that the employer blamed on the app and changing pay periods. When the project was complete, the employer stopped answering their calls and changed the locks so that they no longer had access to the property, including some of their personally owned tools. And the employer did not pay these workers thousands of dollars they were legally owed for work performed and did not return their tools. Wage theft is more prevalent than commonly recognized. It takes many forms, such as sloppy record-keeping, requirements to perform unpaid work, improper calculation of lunch and break time, improper calculation of sick leave or vacation time, failure to pay overtime, failure to issue the final paycheck, and misclassification of employment status. Thousands of employees have a hard enough time surviving on wages they are paid even when properly accounted, let alone when shorted on properly earned compensation. All employees have the right to be confident that their work will be fully and properly compensated. This ordinance is patterned after legislation from Cleveland and Columbus and will help deter wage theft by providing that Cuyahoga County will not contract with businesses determined to have engaged in wage theft. Cleveland and Columbus set up fair wage review boards. However, rather than create new structures, our legislation proposes to use our existing debarment process. Determinations will be made by the Inspector General subject to appeal to the Debarment Review Board. The county will not conduct its own investigations. We will use existing state and federal processes. The debarment will normally be for 3 years. This legislation also requires contractors to certify in their bids that they have not had an adverse determination on wage theft over the preceding 7 years. The legislation also includes an education component. The Inspector General will help educate employers through the contractor ethics training process, and Ohio Means Jobs will help educate workers as to their rights. Consumer Affairs will be the administration contact with Ohio Means Jobs. It will strengthen Cuyahoga County's economy to be known as a community where workers can rely on receiving their wages that they properly earned. Councilman Schwan has observed that the Inspector General probably could debar on wage theft under the broad language in current code. He is probably correct, but such debarments have not occurred, and we will benefit from an explicit reference. This legislation benefits workers and our economy by helping ensure that employees receive the wages that they have earned. The legislation also benefits businesses through an explicit delineation of our process. I ask for your support of Ordinance 2023-0009.
Councilmember, your microphone, please.
Last time they had a problem. Is it not working out? I have a beautiful green little dot on here. What is it doing?
You could use Councilmember Conwell's.
Oh, yeah, you can sit.
Yeah, I'll just walk over there. Whoa, this is short. I get shorter. I'm already short. Yeah, add that to, add that. We did have the. No, it's okay. I can live with it. I've been short all my life. We've been at passing legislation for 12 years in this body. Whoa, engineering. Thank you. This body has passed legislation for 12 years, and during that time, if we went back and recapped every single piece of legislation, could we tweak it? Could we adjust it? Could we do things to it? But we had, as Councilman Miller alluded to, the Inspector General took that microphone and said, yes, we could actually use the disbarment that we already have in place to do this. We also had the attorney for the county who was sitting there during those hearings say the exact same thing, and we even had comments from our own internal that the current disbarment does effectively provide those tools. If somebody is stealing money, they need to be prosecuted. I don't care who they are, what they are, from that standpoint. So that's a crime. The disbarment is already in place. We cannot go down this road of adjusting every single piece of legislation that we passed for the last 12 years. It's already covered. The language is there. And we have multiple attorneys who took that and saying that our disbarment is there as an effective tool to proceed to protect anybody who is improperly had their money, had their benefits, had anything taken from them. And so with that, I believe that this is not a good practice to go back in and try to redo things that we did 12 years ago to try and bring it up to current, because that's currently what the city of Cleveland did. They also, by the way, never had an IG department. So I don't really want to be following a lot of what Cleveland has done on things of that nature. We had an IG department 12 years before the city of Cleveland even put that in place. So it's not a great way to be doing business, to be following necessarily what they're doing. Not that they're good or bad. It's just our body has been here for 12 years doing the right thing, and we already did the right thing when we put it in the disbarment in its original form. Thank you.
Any other comments? Hearing no further comments, we had a first and a second. Who was the second?
The second was Councilmember Turner.
Okay, thank you. If there's no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstaining?
No?
Okay. So Councilmember Stevens, I won't do a roll call vote, but there's 8 council members voting in the affirmative, 1 recusal, which is Councilmember Gallagher, and 1 casting a dissenting vote, which is Councilmember Schran. But the vote carries, the motion carries.
Thank you. Motion is approved, and we move to legislation introduced by the executive.
Okay.
Consideration of resolutions for first reading adoption under suspension of rules. A motion to suspend rules 9D and 12A. Can I hear a motion first and then a second?
Madam President and Vice President, I move to suspend those rules.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? This motion carries, and now we can move on to the first item under consideration of this first reading from the executive. Madam Clerk?
Yes, Resolution 2023-0144, amending the 2022-2023 biennial operating budget for 2023 by providing for additional fiscal appropriations from the general fund, appropriation transfers and cash transfers, and amending resolution number 2023-0101 dated April 11th, 2023, and resolution number R 2023-0113 dated April 25th, 2023.
Mr. Miller, this is your area of specialty.
Move to adopt.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Madam President, my colleagues, this resolution is the regular fiscal agenda of budget amendments. The answers to our questions to OBM are on your desks. Most items are routine, consisting primarily of appropriations and closeouts of grants and debt service payments. Notable is a payment of $352,900 for the arena to fulfill payment obligations when incremental sales tax on concessions at the arena exceeds $250,000. There is an appropriation of $200,000 for consulting services for the microgrid project. The appropriation of leftover Veterans Service Commission funds for 2022 was $311,692 and is appropriated here. Also notable is the large debt service appropriation of $26,291,650 for the convention center. There will be similar large payments in 2024, 25, and 26, and a smaller payment in 2027, at which times the bonds will be fully paid off. I ask for your support on first reading suspension. Thank you.
Are there any other comments? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? This passes. Madam Clerk, on to our next item.
Resolution 2023-0145, extending the appointment of Joseph S. Greiner as interim sheriff to July 31st, 2023.
Is there a motion to approve?
Move to adopt.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion. I want to extend a privilege to the county exec, therefore the chief of staff, as his designee today.
Thank you, Acting Council President Stevens. The only thing I have to say is we're very grateful for Sheriff Greiner and the time that he spent as interim sheriff and continues to serve as interim sheriff. We need a little more time to go through the confirmation process, and I'm sure the nominee will be in front of you soon, but we'd appreciate your consideration of extending this current interim appointment to get prepared to go through the confirmation process.
When will council or our HR committee receive resume, bio, vitae, whatever it is you're providing?
We'll send, it's forthcoming.
Okay.
Yep.
So we'll have it within the next week?
Yes. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Madam Vice President?
Yes.
I just want to extend my gratitude to the interim sheriff, Joseph Greiner. Thank you so much. He's doing an excellent job, and I appreciate the hard work and stepping in kind of in a difficult time in between sheriffs and everything else surrounding this. So thank you, and I support this, and I'll add my name.
Okay.
Please add Turner.
President? Yeah,
Yes.
I just want to follow up on Councilwoman Simon's comments as well. I think the interim sheriff has conducted himself in a very professional and excellent manner while he's been in office there. So I will add my name as well.
Mr. Kelly?
Thank you. I knew Sheriff Greiner before I got on this council. He's a good man. I appreciate everything he does for the Sheriff's Department, for the county. And I'd like to add my name too, please.
Any other comments? If not, we have a first, a second. Hearing no further comments, all in favor? Aye. Any opposition? Congratulations, Sheriff Greiner. You get to work harder and a little bit longer for us. Consideration of resolutions for first reading and referral to committee.
Resolution 2023-0146, confirming the appointment of Natasha M. Pietracola upon her taking the oath of office as Director of the Division of Senior and Adult Services in the Department of Health and Human Services.
This is referred to the Committee of the Whole.
Resolution 2023-0147, authorizing amendments to various revenue-generating agreements with various providers that lease space at various adult activity centers for the period January 1st, 2020 through December 31st, 2022, to extend the time period to December 31st, 2025, and to change the terms effective January 1st, 2023 for items 1A through D and item 2A.
This will be referred to the Public Works and Procurement and Contracting Committee. And Mr. Tuma, you have a lot of referrals coming. Next, Madam Clerk.
Resolution 2023-0148, making an award on requisition 11827 to United Survey Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $3,299,484 for a 2023 sewer rehabilitation program in various county sewer districts for the period June 1st, 2023 through June 1st, 2026.
This is referred to the Public Works, Procurement and Contracting Committee.
Resolution 2023-0149, making an award on requisition 11971 to K2M Design, Inc. in the amount not to exceed $1,200,000 for general architectural engineering services for Cuyahoga County Justice Center, effective upon signatures of all parties for a period of 4 years.
This is referred to the Public Works, Procurement and Contracting Committee.
Resolution 2023-0150, authorizing an agreement with City of Lakewood in the amount not to exceed $523,506 for home-funded activities for the period May 1st, 2023 through April 30th, 2025.
This is referred to the Community Development Committee.
And at this time, Councilmember Miller has requested his name be added as a sponsor to this legislation. Resolution 2023-0151, amending resolution number 2022-0445, dated December 8th, 2022, which authorized an economic development loan in the amount not to exceed $1,700,000 to FMCFP LLC or its designee to assist with funding project costs of a mixed-use development project located at 10300 Cedar Avenue in the city of Cleveland, to amend the terms of the loan as originally presented.
This will be referred to the Economic Development and Planning Committee.
Resolution 2023-0152, authorizing an amendment to a contract with Dell Inc., also known as Dell Marketing LP, for a Microsoft Enterprise Agreement, licensing, renewal, and support for the period July 1st, 2017 through June 30th, 2023, to extend the time period to June 30th, 2026, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $9,219,554.46.
This will be referred to the Finance and Budgeting Committee. Next, committee reports and consideration of resolutions for second reading.
Resolution 2023-0116, adopting the annual alternative tax budget for the year 2024.
This item will move to the June 6th council agenda for consideration for third reading and adoption.
Resolution 2023-0139, authorizing an amendment to a contract with Emerald Development and Economic Network, Inc. for rapid rehousing services for the period January 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2023, to extend the time period to June 30th, 2024, to change the terms and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $902,677.31.
This item will move to the June 6th council agenda for consideration for third reading and adoption. Committee reports and consideration of resolutions for second reading adoption under suspension of rules. I need a motion to suspend Rule 9D for us to move forward.
Madam Vice President, I move to suspend the rule.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing no opposition, this is approved, and we move into the first resolution.
Resolution 2023-0118, confirming the county executive's reappointment of Keith J. Libman to serve on the Cuyahoga County Audit Committee for the term January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2026.
Move to adopt?
Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, we move to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing no opposition, we have approved this.
Resolution 2023-0119, confirming the county executive's appointment of Meltrice Sharp to serve on the Cuyahoga County Audit Committee for an unexpired term ending December 31st, 2025.
Is there a motion?
Move to adopt?
Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing no opposition, this is approved, and we move to the next item on the agenda.
Resolution 2023-0120, authorizing an amendment to a resolution which authorized Department of Public Works to acquire the necessary rights of way to proceed with the reconstruction and widening of Sprague Road, Phase 1, from Webster Road to West 130th Street in the cities of Middleburg Heights, North Royalton, Parma, and Strongsville, to change parcel number 90WDCH&T to parcel 90WDCH-A&T.
Motion to adopt.
Is there a second?
Madam President, this matter came before the Public Works Committee on May 17, 2023, and it deals with a county project that's been moving forward since 2019. And during the course of this project and negotiation with the property owner, issues have arisen with the warranty deed and easements, and agreements were reached that still require councilmatic action. We will be adding an aerial easement to the agreement between the county and the property owner. And that is just an easement that extends upward from the property. So I would ask for my colleagues' support on this piece of legislation.
This has been moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We move forward with a vote of aye.
Resolution 2023-0121, making an award on a purchase order to National Office Services in the amount not to exceed $1,053,570.50 for a state contract purchase of office furniture for the Jane Edna Hunter Building.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
And Madam President, this piece of legislation came before Public Works on May 17, 2023. It's presented by Mr. Matt Reimer of Public Works. This is 100% funded by the general fund, and the furniture will be purchased upon council approval. And the state contract purchasing is going to be used in this acquisition, and it's much-needed furniture. So I'd ask for my colleagues' support on this legislation.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? This motion moves forward. Madam Clerk.
Resolution 2023-0134, authorizing an amendment to a contract with Union Industrial Contractors Incorporated for rehabilitation of Cedar Point Bridge number 00.49 over the Rocky River located in the Cleveland Metropolitan Park District in the city of North Olmsted, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $2,274,161.73.
Motion to adopt. And Madam Clerk, with respect to this piece of legislation, Nicole English came before Public Works on May 17th to discuss this. The funding is 19% federal, 71% county road and bridge funds, and 10% state. During the course of this project, numerous items were uncovered that were not included in the initial bid, and the vendor tried to maintain the architectural details, but it was clear that the long-term value of the bridge would be better served by removing the concrete portions, which added these additional costs to the project. These steps will extend the expected life expectancy of the bridge by approximately 25 years, so the value is certainly going to be maintained there. New items include additional demolition, causeway damage due to the river flow, and concrete removal of materials there. So I would ask for my colleagues' support on this important project.
Any other discussion?
Madam President, I'd like to add my name to that, please.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing no opposition, this has been approved, and we move on to the next item.
Resolution 2023-0135, authorizing an amendment to a revenue-generating lease with Eaton Corporation for lease of land and a hangar facility at the Cuyahoga County Airport, located at 26340 Curtis Wright Parkway in Richmond Heights, for the period June 1st, 2003 through May 31st, 2023, to exercise an option to extend the time period to May 31st, 2028, to change the terms effective June 1st, 2023, and to generate additional revenue in the amount not to exceed $775,080.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
And Madam President, this piece of legislation here also came before Public Works on May 17th, presented by Mr. Myers of Public Works. The current lease expires 5/31/23, and the lease payments have increased consistently since 2003. The current lease with Eaton has a renewal clause, which was exercised here, and this will allow this local business to maintain its presence at our county airports, and the lease will now expire in 2028 with this 5-year extension, and I would ask for my colleagues' support on this legislation.
Madam Vice President?
Yes.
I just want to comment that there's 2 items regarding the airport today in front of us, and I wanted this council to remember and the administration to be aware that we've been looking for an airport manager now for probably over 2 years, and we're doing, I believe, a disservice to the communities that house this airport. And, you know, we started off hiring, I think, 2 and pretty much it was not a good situation that they had to leave, and now we don't have a manager, and I guess Mr. Myers is handling leases and running the airport, but I would ask that we get a status of what's going on with trying to get and recruit an airport manager, if we could. Thank you.
Any other comments? Okay, we had a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, this is approved, and we move on to the next item on our agenda.
Resolution 2023-0136, making an award on requisition 11900 to Trimore Corporation in the amount not to exceed $657,875 for rehabilitation of aprons D1, D2, and D3 at Cuyahoga County Airport, located at 26340 Curtis Wright Parkway in Richmond Heights.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
And
Turner.
Madam President, with respect to this piece of legislation, this bid actually came in 28.43% less than the engineer's estimate, and the portions of the airport apron have not been repaved in over a decade, and they were in dire need of repair. This will be another step in the ongoing maintenance and upkeep of the county airport, and I would ask for my colleagues' support on getting these areas repaired.
Hearing no further comments, are all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, no opposition, this is approved, and we move on to the next item on the agenda.
Resolution 2023-0137, making an award on requisition 11914 to Perk Company, Inc., in the amount not to exceed $2,560,100.42 for resurfacing of Hilliard Road from Warren Road to Riverside Drive in the city of Lakewood in connection with the 2021 through 2024 Transportation Improvement Program.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
And Madam President, the anticipated start date of this project is coming up 5/22. What's that today?
It passed.
Passed. And the estimated completion date is November 22nd of '23. The bid came in at slightly more, 5.78% more than the engineer's estimate. And the road will be open during construction. It covers a 1.44 mile stretch of road. Bike lanes will be added, pavement, repair new drainage structures, new signage, and pavement markings as well. And this is part of the 2021 through 2024 Transportation Improvement Program. So I'd ask for my colleagues' support on this.
Any other discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing no opposition, this motion is approved, and we move forward to the next item.
Resolution 2023-0138, making an award on requisition 12027 to Northeast Ohio Trenching Service, Inc., in the amount not to exceed $2,163,750 for installation of 785 feet of new concrete for East 26th Street, roadway between Community College Avenue and Central Avenue in the city of Cleveland.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
And Madam President, this came before Public Works on May 17th, and it was presented by Ms. Nicole English. The funding here is 55% general fund ARPA funds, 45% county motor vehicle funding, and $7.50 license tax fund. The anticipated start date here is May 8th, which again has passed. That's why we're doing these under suspension. The estimated completion date is November 17th of '23. This includes 785 feet of new concrete, new sidewalks, ADA compliant ramps, sewer upgrades and repairs, and street lighting will also be added. Let's see, this bid came in 6% less than the engineer's estimates, and this is part of the Central Surge project. So I'd ask for my colleagues' support on this new road.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing no opposition, this is approved, and we move forward to the next section of our business. Consideration of resolutions for third reading and adoption.
Resolution 2023-0117, confirming the county executive's appointment of Richard D. Maniloff upon his taking the oath of office as Cuyahoga County Director of Law.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Any discussion?
Madam Vice President, we heard testimony of Richard Maniloff in the confirmation hearing, and he was impressive, and look forward to working with the law director that espoused a knowledge that he represents both county council as well as the executive, and optimistic that that will continue, and want to thank Greg Huth, who's been serving in that role. Thank you very much.
Any other comments? Hearing none. All in we had a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing no opposition, Mr. Maniloff, congratulations. You get to work harder, maybe for less pay. Welcome aboard. It is after conversation with the Chief of Staff, it appears that June 20th will be the time that we swear you in at a council meeting. Thank you, Chief, for following up with me, and welcome aboard, sir. The next item on the agenda, Madam Clerk.
Resolution 2023-0122, making awards to various municipalities in the total amount of $3,004,930 for various projects or programs in connection with the 2022 and 2023 Community Development Block Grant Program for the period April 1st, 2023 through September 30th, 2023 for items A through U.
I move adoption of this.
Second.
Community development dollars are the bloodline of community activities that we make in our communities. And I hope that all of these activities will be enjoyed by the communities, which we have worked hard to get them engaged and active to make the communities better for those, the residents of those communities. There was a first and a second, a motion and a second. All in favor?
Madam President,
Any opposed? I'm sorry.
my name to that, please.
Absolutely.
Please add Turner.
Aye.
Who was the third?
Turner.
Turner and Kelly. I thought I heard someone else.
You could add my name too, please.
Okay, add mine, Simon.
Tuma, T-U-M-A.
Thank you. Committee report and consideration of ordinance for second reading. Madam Clerk?
Ordinance 2023-0010, amending Chapter 705 of the County Code to provide a uniform procedure for collection of charges for connecting to the county's water and sewer facilities throughout County Sewer District 14.
This item will move to the June 6th council agenda for consideration for third reading. Miscellaneous committee reports. Let me start on my far right. Mr. Kelly, you don't have a committee to report from?
That's correct. Thank you.
Mr. Miller?
Madam President and my colleagues, the Finance and Budgeting Committee will not meet next Monday due to the Memorial Day holiday, but will meet on the following Monday, June 5th at 1 p.m. to hear the item referred this evening. Thank you.
Mr. Sweeney is not present at this moment. Mr. Tuma?
Thank you, Madam President. Public Works will meet on the last day of May, May 31st at its regularly scheduled time.
Thank you. Mr. Gallagher? Mr. Schron?
We've got a short, it's just more a mechanical fix, so I'm going to see whether we can work with staff to tuck and find a quorum that we can tuck on the back of somebody else's committee meetings.
So I'd like to tuck my committee into your committee.
Okay, well, we can't meet on Monday, but I'm happy to, let's.
We'll work it out.
Let's do Kumbaya on Tuesday,
okay.
Wednesday, or Thursday.
All
then.
right, let's
Okay.
do that.
Yep.
Councilwoman Conwell.
Yes, there will be a joint committee between the Health and Arts Committee, City of Cleveland, with Health and Human Services County, Wednesday, May 31st at 1 o'clock. It is in regards to no contracts. It will be discussion in regards to unsheltered homeless locations and code violations.
Excellent. Councilwoman Turner?
Human Resources Appointments and Equity Committee will not meet.
Thank you.
No meeting.
Thank you. I'm going to be happy.
We got a lot of open time slots then.
Yeah, we have a little open time slot,
We'll just find
and that means you and I can figure out how to sing Kumbaya together.
Yes.
Under miscellaneous business, I'd like to offer an executive courtesy to Councilwoman Yvonne Conwell. I'm not jealous of very much in this life. I think that God blesses us each in individual ways. But those of us who are fortunate enough to have good moms, I've lost my mom to breast cancer, but Yvonne continues to have her, and so, Yvonne.
I just wanted to celebrate openly for everyone my mom's 80th birthday, which is tonight. And happy birthday, Mom. And to my son, my oldest child, Kevin, and my mom is Gail. So my first child was born on my mom's birthday, but she is turning 80, and that's very special to us. So happy birthday, Mom.
Happy birthday, Mom. We come to the end of our council meeting. If there are no
Madam
other
President,
courtesies.
I do. I would just have a thank you out to former Executive Budish, who really led us getting Aer Lingus here. He was one of the leaders and really helped us navigate getting this airline. He couldn't be on the flight, but I want to extend a thank you to him.
Thank you, former Executive Budish.
Madam Vice President?
Yes, Mr. Gallagher.
You mentioned Jim Brown earlier on, and my first football game, let alone any football game, was the 1964 championship with my dad. I was 8 years old. At 7, I'd be 8 the next month. And it's still vivid in my mind as to what was going on in that game. And I do recall Mr. Brown having I think it was less than 100 yards, but I met him later on in life. I had golf outings for the Strongsville football team, and he was so kind to sign all kinds of jerseys for us, and he was just a wonderful, wonderful example of the Cleveland community engulfed in one man. And he was a gentleman to the end, and I thank him greatly for the memories of 1964 and the memories in my older years. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Mr. Miller?
Along the same line, I would say that I did not have a chance to see the 64 championship in person, but I saw several games with my father at the stadium in which Jim Brown played. And also I had the honor to meet him during the celebration in 2016 when the Cavaliers won the championship. Thank you.
If I
Any
could
other
add.
courtesy comments? If not, I'd like to adjourn.
Chair,
I'm sorry.
I just wanted to add one final thought.
Yes.
It was a privilege to work with Mr. Brown on his American program
Yes.
in the city of Cleveland to try to quell youth violence. And I remember one of our last conversations, we were talking about his movie 3, The Hard Way. That was one of my favorite movies. Rest in peace, Mr. Brown.
Thank you. Thank you to
Madam
my.
President,
Yes.
real quick. Just want to say what an excellent job you did in filling in for our council president, and appreciate the smooth sailing.
Thank you. As we adjourn this meeting, I'd like to close it out as I did council in Cleveland Heights. God bless America.